What's up, guys? Hey, this is your gambling show, but I've got some really good information about the designations, selections, and who's going to go and why. Got some information about Styles Robertson. Remember him? He's had a rough couple of years, but I'll tell you where he's going, and I think I'm so excited for him and his new opportunity. And with everything that's gone on, where I was kicked out of Budds Creek, they're trying to spin a narrative. They, Racer X, MX Sports, Davey Coombs, and some of the people that I've been calling out. They want to make it seem like everybody's against me. Just so you guys know, that's not true. 99% of the people in those pits around this sport really like me. It's the people who are doing the wrong things that don't want me talking about it. They're the ones that don't like me. I thought it was pretty cool that Team Fried reached out. I think they respect what I'm doing, so they sent me some shirts. Thank you, Team Fried. They're not an official sponsor, but I appreciate the gesture. Now, this is the gambling show, so if you haven't set up your account through BetOnline, go ahead and do that with the link that I've got in this description. There are restrictions, and bet responsibly. See the show notes for details. They take care of me by how many people use that link, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. They take really good care of me, and I love betting on the sport. I think it's fun, but I do it responsibly. I do it with no more money than I can afford to lose.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
And Jett Lawrence seems to have dropped the hammer on Chase Sexton. It is on for SMX. Now, I've got a little clip to show you. Now, and I'm going to cut the volume out because they'll copyright me if I do. Now, Jett didn't create this post, but this is Jett resharing this post. And I was like, wow, that was pretty aggressive for Jett to share this out. And it really is throwing the gauntlet down. And this is what I want to see out of our riders. If you're confident and you feel confident, share something like this. If that's who you are, this is the type of personality that gives me the reason to care. That's what I want. You can talk about racing and professionalism and how fast these guys go, but the real story we want to know is why. Why do I want this guy to beat this guy on this dirt bike on this given day? What is the story behind it? Is there a conflict? Will we get resolution after the race? Those are things that we really focus on. Hayden Deegan has brought that to the sport. Jett has brought that to the sport. And I love that he's doubling down. And it took some balls to reshare this, knowing it will get back to Chase Sexton, and he has to face him pretty soon. So I got some interesting news about the Designations team. My source, you know who you are, and obviously you're going to stay anonymous, but I want to thank you so much for this detailed information that I got. Chase Sexton's in, and he's going to race the Spanish GP ahead of it. He's taking it very seriously. He wants to go and win the designations, and that speaks volumes of the attitude of this team heading over there. They're not going to get second place. They are going to regain that trophy that they had 2 years ago. Chase Sexton will be your captain. The second spot, we don't know. And then the third spot on the 250 class, they really want Deegan to go. He's the hands down selection by the committee. The issue is your other 450 guy right now, Aaron Plessinger. If you went straight by results on the paper and you picked a guy, you're picking Aaron Plessinger. The problem with that is it comes to financials. Star Yamaha will send Hayden Deegan, but they want another rider to justify spending that much money to send him over to that race. And if Star is going to go all in, they're looking at racing the Spanish GP also to really go to win this thing. Star doesn't want to go to just mess around. They want to go to win this race. So it seemed kind of weird that the selection committee was waiting so long to pick the second 450 rider and announce this team. These bikes have to be prepped, readied, and shipped by September 9th. That's not very far away. These teams have to order parts, make sure everything's ready. That is a huge commitment. They need to have as much time as possible. This committee desperately wants to just plug in Eli Tomac. Because if Eli Tomac, who desperately wants to go, I've heard he is really chomping. He wants to do this race very badly. And he's got a long time to get ready. The way it was kind of put to me is if he can go out and beat Aaron Plessinger in either of these motos at Ironman, it'll make it a lot easier on Roger DeCoster to put him in there so they can guarantee Hayden Deegan goes. If he doesn't do that and they put Aaron Plessinger in there, there's a good chance that Star does not allow Deegan to go because that's a huge financial commitment and they don't want to do it unless they can get a return on investment. Now, if you get Tomac and Deegan, they see a return on investment that they can justify. So Bobby Reagan will go, but he wants to win. He doesn't want to go there to have a podium team. He doesn't want to go there to have a top 5 team. Bobby Reagan wants his guys to go and win this event, and he believes that Tomac is the best option. Now it's a matter of justifying it. Roger DeCoster, it's really hard to justify it right now after last weekend. Tomac goes out there and gets 5-7 this weekend at Ironman. How do you put him on the Donations team ahead of Aaron Plessinger? But once you do that, you might lose Deegan. What would you do if you were Roger DeCoster? That is a tough predicament. Now to my boy, Styles Robertson. So Styles Robertson has had a rough couple of years. He has been injured a lot, and he's been essentially gone. Often when this happens, these guys never get another opportunity, or they go to a subpar team, and they have to they have to get a lot of really good breaks to make a career at this sport, and it really is a hard hill to climb. Styles Robertson has an opportunity, and I'm very, very excited to see where he's going for the next 2 years. Styles Robertson is signed to Triumph. So Triumph will have Jalik Swoll, Jordan Smith, Styles Robertson, and Austin Faulkner. Now, Joey Savacci has a contract for next year, but I'm hearing rumblings that might be one of those mutual parting of the ways. It hasn't gone the way that Joey Savacci wanted it to, and they were supposed to have a 450. They're not going to have that. So does he do the same thing he did last year, sit out Supercross and then ride outdoors? And the results outdoors have not matched what Triumph had expected, what Joey had expected. They may split, and it looks to me like Triumph is preparing for that by signing these 4 guys. But I am happy to see Styles Robertson get paired up with team manager Bobby Hewitt. Bobby Hewitt is one of the few team managers that understands how to cultivate young talent. He doesn't just throw them in there and say, sink or swim, you're fired or you're not. He really helps these guys grow and develop into great racers. I mean, look what he did with Jason Anderson. Jason Anderson, at one point, they had to send him home. And look at what he's made out of his career. And a lot of that is a direct reflection on Bobby Hewitt and the way that he knows how to cultivate talent. Styles Robertson on a Triumph next year, and that bike, Jalik Swoll's proving that bike is good. They've got through a lot of hurdles this year. I mean, a new brand in the 250 class. That is not an easy mountain to climb, and they've done an amazing job. And I think Styles Robertson is in the right place to really rebuild his career. So for those of you that don't like the gambling stuff, that's what's up next. Motocross gambling is up. They were really late this week, and they didn't have the whole shot odds up. So I've only got one matchup in each class, and then the odds to win the race. In the 250 class, the matchup is Tom Vial versus Ken Roczen. Tom Vial is a minus 150 favorite over the 2-time 450 champion Ken Roczen. If you put money on Ken Roczen, you get plus 110. I'm going with Tom Vial. I don't see Ken Roczen beating him both motos. I could see him getting a start and doing it one moto, but he's just an unknown. So if you're going to bet on that one, just know we don't know what we're going to get. Just know that we don't know. And for one of the first times all year, we're getting Hayden Deegan at bettable odds. He's minus 125 to win the race. I think he's going to win. History tells us a lot of times when guys wrap up a championship with 1 round to go, then, the round that they lock it up in, they usually have a poor performance or an adrenaline dump, much like what happened to Hayden. Then they get a week, the pressure's off. Now, I would say Hayden he could mail it in again, but with Ken Roczen dropping to that 250 class, I do not expect that's new motivation, and that's what Hayden Deegan needs. He needs a new challenge, a new motivation. The last thing he wants is to have Ken Roczen come out there and beat him or pressure him, and that might be just the motivation that he goes out there and smashes everybody. I'm betting big on Hayden Deegan this weekend. I 100% believe he is going to win this race at Ironman. And the odds on anyone else aren't really good enough to even justify betting. What I might do is sprinkle just a little bit on Ty Masterpool. He's a guy that could win, and a guy who has won an overall and another moto at Redbud this year. I know he's had a bad couple of rounds, but he's 14-1. 14-1 does not seem right. I would have him more at like 6-1 or 7-1. So if you want to sprinkle a little bit on Ty Masterpool, it could pay big. It's very unlikely, but if you want a long shot, there it is. Now the matchup in the 450 class, Hunter Lawrence versus Justin Cooper. And it's a silly matchup. They've got Hunter Lawrence at minus 600. Yeah, most all of us are agreed that he's going to beat Justin Cooper. And at minus 600, you have to bet so much money to make anything. It is not worth it. It is not worth it. If you think there's a chance that Justin Cooper could finish ahead of Hunter, he's plus 350. That means you bet $1 to win 350. So you'd bet $1 and you'd collect 450 when it's done. I might sprinkle a little on Justin Cooper. You never know. I mean, he's been right there all year. Do I think he's going to beat Hunter? No. But with those kind of odds, it's really hard to lay off. Now looking at the odds to win the 450 class, they've got Chase Sexton at minus 175. Now, the issue I have with that is, yes, he's your favorite to win the race, but we've seen it over and over and over again. If he wraps it up in that first moto, which is very likely, does he have an adrenaline dump? Does he do one of those situations where he doesn't go for it all the way in the second moto? It's very possible. And in that case, I like Aaron Plessinger. This is his hometown. He is good. He has wanted to win so bad, and he needs to have a good performance to get that donation spot, and he wants it really bad. Him and Tomac both have a lot of motivation going into this race, and I would have liked to see a matchup between those two. But Aaron Plessinger at a plus 850, that means you bet $1 to win 850. You bet $1 and you collect $9.50 back. Yeah, I would say he's more like a 3 to 1 or 4 to 1, but you're going to give me 8.5 to 1. I might put a decent amount on Plessinger because I've been saying it all year. I think this is the one he's going to win if he does win one. And with Sexton in that championship battle where he might have that adrenaline dump, now you're really asking, is Aaron Plessinger going to beat Hunter Lawrence? I think he very well could. Now, Tomac, he's at plus 525. You get better odds on Aaron Plessinger than you do on Eli Tomac, and I think that's just off a name value. It's clearly not off of performance. What's scary, though, is Tomac is motivated, and he knows what's on the line here with the donations. If he cannot get close to or show something, they can't choose him. He has to do it this weekend because they have to get the bikes ready and there's just not enough time. So if you want to sprinkle a little bit on Eli, yeah, I don't know. I just don't like it, but I wouldn't be mad at it if somebody did, but I don't like that bet. I want to thank all my sponsors. You know who they are. Complete Racing Solutions, Coach Rob, Epic Garage Designs, Ride Strapped, and Precision Transport. These guys have all been with me and I really appreciate them. And I wanted to get all that done. Essentially, this show's over, but I wanted to say one political point. With Bet Online, they offer odds. You can also bet on the presidential election. And last week, Kamala was the favorite. Trump looks like last I checked it, Trump had swung even back and forth. It's a really close race. And it's strange to me that it's this close. Reason is because I look at some of the policies that Kamala Harris is talking about. Let me just enlighten you guys on one. In their policy, they want to have a 25% unrealized tax. So what that is so you have your house, you bought it for $200,000, just as an example. In a year, it goes up to $300,000. An unrealized tax is you would have to pay them $25,000 on that $100,000 you made, even before you sell it. Right now, they have a capital gains where you sell it and you pay. What they want to put in is an unrealized tax. So you have to pay them at the end of the year, even though you're staying in your house. If it goes up in value that high, you have to cut the IRS a check. I'm sorry, man. That 1 point alone, I am not voting for her. Now, I don't think that Trump's the answer to all of our, he's not a guy that's going to save us, but I do believe he's the best option here. So that's my 2 cents, guys, and I will catch you later.